Welcome back, guys. It's Dan again. Here doing another Photoshop tutorial in my lovely kitchen. If you notice, the audio is a little bit different than last time. It's because when I watched the video, I realized that the built-in microphone kind of got a little bit when I leaned in to get really into my work. So thus, I am using a whole new setup this time. So, yay for more possible problems. Okay, anyway, so once again, here to do another Photoshop tutorial. So we're just gonna jump into it this time. So boom, here we are, Adobe Photoshop CS6. Now this picture here, for those of you who are not familiar with it, which I wouldn't be surprised if you weren't, this is the back of the Capitol building in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Once again, for those of you who don't know, that is the capital of the state of Pennsylvania. So here we have a lovely shot of the Capitol building here, some auxiliary building here, and this fountain. Yeah, it would have been better with a wide angle lens, but I did not have one at the time, so this is the best shot I was able to get. So there's a couple different things that I don't like about this photo. First of all, it was a very cloudy day. I don't like that. You know, we can fix that. We got a few people here and there. Maybe a little bit of color correction, make this look like it's not, so dark and dreary. And I have no idea what this is up here, so we're going to get rid of that. First thing I'm actually going to do, though, is I'm going to straighten this, because it just looks really crooked to me. So, let's see here. Yeah, that looks better. Much better, much better, much better. Alrighty. So as we can see, I kind of got rid of this problem up here. Next step here, we're going to use my spot healing brush. Let me name this layer. Obviously, naming is optional. I just find it makes things a little bit easier when you're going through everything. Oh wow, I didn't even see that. Hold up here. Problem solved. Okay. So you gotta love this tool sometimes. Alrighty. Now these security camera here, I'm not a big fan of Big Brother watching me, so we're just gonna use the spot healing brush to remove that. Same thing with this here. I don't know what that is. Probably some kind of weather device, but it doesn't exist now. Boom. Photoshop. Okay, now on to more complicated tasks. We have these people. This one here, I might be able to get away with this. Ooh, so close. So very, very close. Oh, beautiful, 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 beautiful. Not so beautiful. Alright, I'll have to fix that spot. Alright, these guys, yeah, I'm definitely not going to be able to pull that. Maybe these ones. Let me see here. Spot healing brush, work your magic. No. Denied. Alright. So it looks like for most of these here, well, maybe these guys, I might be able to go with this guy here. Yeah, no. Alright. Spot healing brush, as I've said before, is very wonderful, but it doesn't always work in these situations. So, let me just make sure that... Okay, so I'm going to switch over to the clone stamp tool. make my life hard. Alrighty. So I think the easiest way to handle this here, I'm actually going to get rid of that flower. To make it easier to blend the rest of this through. So, boom. Alrighty, so as I can see, and this one's going to be a little bit more in depth of work compared to the last one that I did, which is, for those of you who don't know, I did the Lincoln Memorial, where we used these same techniques to remove people from that photo, but this one's going to be a little bit different just because there's so much going on. Like, when I was doing the Lincoln Memorial, I was lucky because most of what I had to deal with was just the stairs. It was all the same color, same lighting. This, I'm dealing with all kinds of different variables. Like, we have the plants, we have people, we have the rocks, we have different shapes. Like, trying to make this a good photo is going to take a very tedious effort, which, just like I said in my last video, when you're doing things like this, if you can avoid actually, like, if you can avoid doing it in Photoshop, avoid doing it in Photoshop, because as powerful of a tool as Photoshop is, it's not, like, the tool itself is not as important as the people behind it and the amount of time that goes into it. As like I said, it really does depend on who you have doing this kind of job. When you look at how much effort I'm going to have to put into this, and just think about if you were paying me by the hour right now, like $20 an hour to do this. You know, that's... And of course, if I was getting paid $20 an hour, I'd be taking my time to make sure this was perfect. So, unless you want to spend a ton of money paying someone like me to do this, you know, it's always best to try and not have to fix this kind of stuff in post. Granted, this does fall under the same lines as the Lincoln Memorial did, actually, where you're not really going to be able to walk up to the Capitol building and just take a picture of it without anybody being there. Most of the time, I mean, occasionally maybe, but it's highly unlikely. So, this is one of those, you don't really have much of a choice, but when you do have a choice, just remember that just because Photoshop can do it doesn't mean that you should do it. Unless, you want to pay me a ton of money, which by all means. I will not turn down money. Alright. So now on to more complicated parts of this here. One plus side of this clone stamp is, as you can see here, occasionally it'll let me actually see what I'm working with. So that I'm kind of trying to line everything up here. Like I said, like these little details and these little lines. So it's really going to kill me on this project because there's just so much going on. Alrighty. Well, this is definitely getting there. Very slowly, but it's getting there nonetheless. Okay, now I'm going to take the spot healing brush. I'll try and blend some of this in a little bit here. Oh, that's better. Okay, let's do a little bit of a simpler one here. We're gonna knock out these guys real fast. So, boom. So while I'm doing all this here, I'm just gonna take a moment to just mention, like, look at how powerful this software is, that it can actually detect all these pixels and just like think about how, yeah, it's tedious, it's time consuming, but you think about relatively how easy this is for me to just say, you know what, I don't want that guy in my picture, I'm just gonna take him out. And, it's granted, I mean, not everyone has that kind of knowledge or skill, but I mean, for those of us who do, it's just kind of, it's almost scary sometimes, some of the stuff that you can accomplish with Photoshop. It's like, like once you know Photoshop, you can never believe any form of digital photography ever again. Alrighty, then at this point, I think I'm probably gonna try and just speed up this video once I'm finished. So I'm not really gonna do much talking at this point until I get on to my next task. So I'm gonna speed up time for you guys. Oh. Okay, so all that was my cleanup work. So, as you may have seen, I did use a different technique where I literally copied portion, like some of the shapes, like specifically down in here, I just copied and pasted, and then used the layer mask to kind of fill in. That area I kind of fudged, but it's kind of don't really have the time to sit here and go through all that right now. So I just kind of did what I had to do. So as you can see, we cleaned all that up. So now my next step I'm going to do is alright, I'm going to fix this guy. So first step to that, I'm going to grab my quick select tool here and drag it across the sky. Of course, I'm being a genius and forgetting things. I want to make sure I'm selected on my background. And that is why I love the quick select tool, because it quickly made that selection. Just what the name says. Alright, now granted, the quick select tool is not going to be perfect, especially right away. So we're going to want to get some of the areas that's missing. Option click to remove certain things. Now, the one plus side to the quick select tool is it's called a smart tool. Whereas when I tell it I don't want these pixels in my selection, but I do want these ones in my selection, it's normally pretty good at figuring out what I'm talking about, but in some cases, not so much. So what I found is the quick select tool is really great for making that initial quick selection, but then you want to go back in either with the quick select tool itself, as I'm doing right now, or once I'm completely done here, I'm going to have to go back in with my brush tool and paint back in the layer mask for what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to quickly tidy this up here. Like I said, I'm going to be coming back in with my brush, so... Oh, man. Sorry, I've been working late nights, and that's the only time I have to get this stuff done, so... Hopefully you guys appreciate it. So if not, then I'm killing myself for nothing. Woohoo! Of course, my late nights will soon be over, because the summer season's almost up. Gotta love tourism. Granted, I'll still have a job, that's a plus, but our hours will be cut, so... yeah. Alrighty. So now that I have a general selection here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out real quick. My hue and saturation layer. I'm going to select colorize. Bring this over to blue. Obviously I'm going to up that saturation. And then darken. Yes. There we go. See, obviously I can way overdo it here, but I think right about there is like perfect. Yes. Alright. Now as you can clearly see, that's just a dramatic difference there. Just boom to boom. Boom to boom. Alright. So clearly, I keep yawning. So, what I'm going to do for this one, since this one is so much more in depth from my other one, I am going to stop here for now. I'm going to have to come back to this tomorrow when I'm not tired. So, yeah, I will leave it at this for now, and I will talk to you guys later. Alright, peace. Yeah, never saying that again.